Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
All right, guys, we're going to welcome on a buddy of mine, Terone Johnson, former player for Purdue, played from 2010 to 2014, averaged 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists in his last 2 seasons. He was a high school state champ, and he just had a baby girl. So congrats on that.
Appreciate
How you doing
it,
tonight,
man.
Terone?
I'm doing fine, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
So we got to kind of talk about this a little bit. So obviously we played men's league for a couple years now. And so we got to talk about the fact Caniacs, this guy, he does not think I can play ball. Can you please tell this man that I can play?
Come on, you got to. Somebody's got to back him up a little bit.
I got to back him up because it's true, man. Like, now, I'm not going to lie. He didn't meet the eye test for me either.
Okay, got you.
I got to say, too.
But seriously, when we first, played you guys, we're like, all right, who's going to be the best player? Like, okay, I'm going to go guard him. It was some other guy. I'm like, nah. Next thing you know, this dude got like 4 threes. I'm like, wait a minute. Every time he get it, he hits a 3. I'm guarding him for now on.
Okay, wait. Can I tell a quick story of that? So my brother-in-law, you remember him? His name's Chris. He was like, oh, we're playing against this guy that played in college. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. He probably played D3 or something. Like, he had played in college my ass. You know what I mean? Right. Little do I know, he's a freaking starter for Purdue. Like, are you kidding me? And so we get into the game, I think I'm hot shit. I drain a few threes, throw some no-look passes. Then all of a sudden, this guy guards me. I think I touched the ball like one time the rest of the game. And it was like to pass it.
So he shut you down.
Because every time he would get it, he'd get the shot off.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, all I gotta do is deny this dude, man, because he's every time he gets the ball, he hits it.
That's funny. My man had to shut you down.
Yeah, he shut me.
That's great.
Well, man, let's kind of get into this. So, coming out of high school, you decided to go to Purdue. Obviously, you're from Indiana, but what really made you choose Purdue, like on the basketball side? Like, what made it like the fit for you?
Yeah, so man, at the time, so I actually committed to Purdue when I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
So I was like an early commit. And my high school coach, he was like, "Are you sure?" Like, because I had a lot of interest at the time, but it hadn't like blown up. So, and I'm not sure if you guys know my high school, but. So I came right after Eric Gordon. So my freshman year, I didn't start varsity. I actually played JV my freshman year. And then I, by the end of the year, I was, Eric Gordon's backup, which means that I played 1 minute a game.
Right.
So, but after that, he kind of like, handed off the torch to me. And so our school kind of had a lot of like interest during that time, regardless. And then, the reason why I ended up choosing Purdue, man, was because they showed me the most interest. Like a lot of schools used to send their assistant coaches and things like that to our practices and see us, talk to us, be around us. It was Matt Painter. He was there at every single. I'm talking open gym, practice, games. It was him. So that did something for me. And then also about 3 of the players. So Kelsey Barlow, DJ Bird. And Etwan Moore. I had already played with Terone Johnson. I'm sorry. I had already played with them before, and they were Indianapolis kids as well. So it's the family vibe, and then the fact that we were ranked like number 2 in the nation, like when I was to be coming in. So I was like, man, I gotta get on that train and get it rolling, man. Boil her up.
I don't blame you there, man.
So. When you were coming in, you come into Purdue, was there like a moment where you're like, oh shit, this isn't high school basketball anymore, this is college, Like, was there any single moment?
So open gym wise, like playing with the guys and stuff, like I was killing people, like, let's go. Like the captains, they were and I know now because I was a captain at one point, but they're kind of like hyping you up. Like they want you to have the most confidence and stuff like that. So that like once the season comes and you hit that wall, you're not already, down and out. You know what I mean? Because what happened was, during open gym and stuff like that, like it was me and Juwan and, we would play and I would be doing really good. And then the season hit and it was like conditioning time. And we had this thing where you had to run a mile, right? In 5 minutes and 20 seconds, right? So the only reason why my coach did it is because he had to do it when Gene Katie made him and those guys do it. So he said, if I had to do it, you guys are going to do it, right?
Passing the buck.
And the first time like that I did that mile, that was the wake up call right there. Man, I did not make my mile. I like fell out like on the third lap. Like it was just crazy.
Wow.
Like I was like, oh man, this is real deal. And that was like one part of it. So you do the mile and then you leave there and then you start conditioning, right? And then if you don't make it, you just keep doing the mile. So like if you make it the first time, fine. But if you don't, you just keep doing the mile over and over.
Oh my God.
So I ended up doing that mile like 7 times and then come to find out I had like a fracture in my back. So they didn't make me keep doing it because that was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Oh man.
Yeah, that all right there. And I was like, man, yeah, this is definitely a different ordeal because, they don't have to keep you, like they say, college as opposed to high school. Like, you didn't grow up in this township. Like, this ain't a township. Like, we don't have to keep you.
Right. Yeah.
Here.
So I kind of got to bring something up here, man. I got to say, I was kind of a Purdue fan for a little while, and you're going to laugh at the reason why, I think. I was the biggest Robbie Hummel fan.
Oh,
I loved Robbie Hummel. I think it was the season before you came in. You said you came in and they were ranked like number 2. There was a game against Ohio State where he dropped like 35 points. Yep. And from there, I was like, oh shit, this guy can shoot the ball. I love it. Like
Robbie was real deal, man. That was my dude. We were super close in college, actually. We would always, even on and off the court, like I would go over there and hang out with him and stuff like that too. But he was a dog, like on the court, bro. Like you couldn't, if you weren't blocking out in practice, stuff like that, bro, you might just get chucked in the back of the back. Like he's that type of dude. Like he's gonna get you going. Like you better be ready if Robbie's around. You know what I mean? Nice. And so it was unfortunate, like you said, we came in preseason number 1, my freshman year, and it was actually going to be, it was either between me and Lewis Jackson, and then it was Etwan Moore, who ended up playing for the Celtics. It was Robbie, who ended up going, and then it was JJ. And then I can't remember who the other, who actually was started, but that was like our starting 5, right? So it was kind of like on and off. And first practice that year, we were in a drill, and Robbie was like, he was in the drill right next to me, and he tore his ACL the first practice of that season for the second time. So that was, that was unfortunate, man. And I felt really bad about it, but he came back the next year. And that's when I played with him my sophomore year, and it was like really like we were like a 1-2 punch, me and him. So we got even closer that year. And it was something that was, we went to the I want to say we didn't get to the Sweet 16. We lost to Kansas in the tournament, the game before the Sweet 16. But the end of that season, man, like we literally all came together and just glued so well. But yeah, that's my guy, man.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you kind of talked about your sophomore season a little bit. You guys actually played against Miami your sophomore season, I believe. Mm-hmm. I think you guys won by like 11 or something. Do you remember anything? I know you probably played a ton of games in your career. Do you remember anything specifically like about that game or like about like what Miami was running or anything?
I don't remember exactly what they were running. I know they had the point guard who his dad was
Shane Larkin.
Yeah, Larkin.
Yeah,
they had him, and he was super athletic. They had a wing. I remember
McKinney Jones.
This is what I remember about it. To be funny, but. The shit talking is what I remembered about it, right? It was a lot of that during that game because I actually came off the bench during that time, I think.
Okay.
And I I can't remember why. Oh, okay, I was hurt. Yeah, so I came off the bench, but like me and my buddy, when we always used to come off the bench, we would like when we're at the score table, we're already talking shit to people like on the floor. Talking stuff. We were talking stuff to this dude.
And that is true. I can attest to that. He does talk shit.
Don't put me out there like that, man. But no, he we get on the floor, and I remember the guy telling us like he said, man, after the game, you know, meet me in the locker room so we can really see what it's like. I was like, damn, like, I haven't had nobody tell me beat them after the game, you know, in the locker room. That was kind of crazy. But no, we ended up winning that game. But it was a real good back and forth game. And they were a really good team that year. Actually, they had a good squad that year.
Yeah, the year after was the year they made the Sweet 16, but it was the year they won the ACC tournament. That was like when Larkin really turned it on, and then he got drafted, and then I think the few other guys. If it's the guy I'm thinking of, I think it was Trey McKinney Jones that was probably talking shit to you.
I'm not sure, man. Yeah. He was a real dark guy, real dark skinned guy.
Oh, maybe Durant Scott.
That's what it was.
It was Durant. the guy that kind of like played like Jamal Crawford, sort of, right? Like
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. It was Durant Scott then.
He was talking stuff. We was talking stuff the whole game, but you know, after the game, we shook hands, everything. You know, it is what it is. But they were a good team that year. I remember it was like a positive win on our schedule for sure to get that out. But yeah, I think we went undefeated in that Big Ten ACC Challenge my career, so that was a big thing for us.
Wow.
So you kind of talked about your first 2 years, your last 2 years. I feel like the team overall struggled a little more. I think it was because you guys were a younger team, you know, besides you. I feel like you probably had to take on more of a leadership role, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see similarities between those two teams and like the team that Purdue had last year and this year? Because they are kind of a younger squad.
Exactly. But I think so this is kind of how I look at it, is that during that time, because it was my brother was part of that recruiting class. He ended up coming in and playing point guard that year.
Was it Ronnie?
Ronnie.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So he came in that year. But in my opinion, like those guys, even including my brother, and he could conform, but like his whole class, they weren't like Purdue style players, if that makes sense. Like they were hot players. They were really good players. But when it came to the Purdue, like it's a system there. Like it's not like, just run and gun, get up and down and let's run and gun. Villanova, hey, let's knock it out. We're good. We're going to just play. No, you have to really fit into a system. And I don't think a lot of those dudes like that. We couldn't have our phones, 2 nights before games. Like they took our phones away. Like it just stuff like that. Like just it was a system, like a real system. Like some NBA teams emulate, the same thing, right? But it just depends on what NBA team you're with, right? So I feel like after that, like after my junior and senior year, because of all of the struggles that they had, I feel like ever since then I haven't seen him really recruit similar people. Right. And so while they are young this year, and like you said, like the last 2 years, they've been a bit young. They're still Purdue players, right? They're still like system guys. So that's the difference. But as far as it being young, and it was really hard for me because I'm like more of like a vocal leader, and like a lot of those guys couldn't take like, me like, and not to say like the Michael Jordan type of ordeal, but almost like that's how I was. Like that was my leadership style. Like I'd be, fucking them up in practice or, doing stuff to them. Like I'm just talking stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking. I'm like, man, what are you doing? Like, man, you might want to work at T-Mobile. I remember telling like one of my.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I remember telling our that he was going to the NBA. But like me and my dad and my brothers, we used to talk to him like, bro, what are you doing? Like, just you're a monster. You know what I mean? Like, but that was my way of like leading, because like in high school it worked, right? Because all high school they all followed my lead, and like we won a state title doing that, right? But in college, like some of those dudes, they just wasn't like built for that type of leadership style. So like my senior year, I kind of changed it up a little bit, was kind of a little more like lenient and stuff like that, but I just feel like overall, those guys just weren't Purdue players, if that made sense. They were good players, but they just weren't, Purdue style players. And honestly, most of them end up transferring. So that just goes to show. But I think they got a lot of talent, this year and last year. And I know Coach Painter, he's going to build on it.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of transfers, I know that big guy, Matt Arms, he transferred out of Purdue. But I mean, I think what they have now with Zach Edey and Trevion Williams, man, those guys are beasts, man. Like Zach Edey's only a freshman. I think Trevion, is he a junior?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Both of them, like, I mean, man, Edey is like, he's super long. He's like 7'4",
I think.
Yeah, with like a 7'8" wingspan. I saw.
It's ridiculous, man. Yeah, I don't know where they go get him from, because I remember when what's his name?
Haas and
Haas, because Haas was my recruit. So like he came young. Actually, I'm sorry, he was my brother's recruit. So he hung out with us on campus and all of that stuff. Like I think the girl that he still dates to this day is like the girl who he met that night.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, but he like they found him like somewhere like in like Alabama, Mississippi, some crazy stuff like that. He was a super like country farm kid. Like when he got there, I was like, "Who is this?" Like,
I was actually gonna ask you that. I was like, "Where does he find all these super huge dudes?" And then Matt Arms, because him and Matt Arms played together. Like Haas would come in, and then yeah.
I don't know, man. They got some type of algorithm for these big guys. I have no idea. To be completely honest, I'm gonna have to ask Coach P about that. That's funny. That's one I can't figure out, man.
Yeah. So we've kind of talked a little about their struggles last year, and I think one of the other things that kind of contributed to that was, I mean, there was no Carson Edwards. He went to the NBA, right? Same with Ryan Klein, who both of them, like, I mean, there's no argument they were the best shooters on the team, and they contributed a lot of that outside scoring. And I think that's one of the biggest. That was one of the biggest problems they had, was they had no one that could shoot the ball from outside last year, specifically. Do you see anyone that can step into that role this year?
I do, but he actually just got hurt. And I'm skipping in my mind. I can't remember his name right now. He's an Indianapolis kid too.
Is it Ivy? Is that his name, or Ivy?
It's not.
The freshman?
Actually, the freshman Ivy is like more comparable to Carson. Like I feel like he can take that type of role on. But the guy I'm talking about, and that's crazy that I can't remember it right now.
He's an upperclassman.
Yeah, he's an upperclassman.
Is it Eric Hunter? Is that
Eric Hunter? Yeah. That's crazy. I can't forget that. He's from my city.
It happens, man. There's a lot of names,
man.
Especially in Indiana too. There's a lot of basketball guys there.
Man, it's a lot of basketball there, man. But yeah, he can take more of the role, I think, of Klein, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be very solid. He'll put up, good numbers. He'll get in the lane. He'll do what he needs to do. He'll play defense as well, right? Same with Klein. But I feel like as far as that Carson Edwards, like that's kind of one in a couple years type of ordeal,
Yeah.
But also, I think that Ivy kid, like I really like what I'm seeing out of him. I've been able to watch like some of their workouts and stuff, and just getting back from the coaches. I speak with them here and there. And man, they love him. So I think he got some really good potential, moving forward.
Yeah. And speaking of it, so Purdue, they who did they play in their first game? Liberty. They beat Liberty. Mm-hmm. They lost to Clemson, which was a really close
smashed
game.
by Clemson.
Oh no,
they got smashed.
Oh yeah, it was like it was double digits, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think the game was a little closer than that.
Yeah, apparently it was. I didn't get to watch it. I watched Matt Painter's show, like his actual talk show, every week. So I caught up with the information there, but it sounded like from what they were saying is that it was a close game, but as we were talking about, like who's going to be that person to step up, right? So who's going to be that leader, and who's going to be that person that like actually fills that void when it's like, are we going to catch back up or are we going to get blown out? You know what I mean? Like, it becomes that point in every game. Like if you're behind, it's like it's either that or are we going to stay close and try to win this, or you get blown out? That's normally what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's where they didn't have it, because I think Trevion, he got in foul trouble early. And then the new kid, he actually held his own. The 7 Edey.
Yeah.
He actually held his own from what they were saying, and like, actually filled that void as far as like the big men. But when it came down to it, it started to just get too far away from them. But yeah, man, they're starting off pretty well. I think they won. Was that yesterday or today?
They played today. They beat Oakland by almost 50 points.
Right.
Holy
that
cow!
was a good one. And we actually played that Oakland team when I was there too, and they're a solid program. Like that, they had a really good guy that year that we played them. An NBA candidate, I remember. I just can't remember what his name was, but they're a solid program. They're not a top, obviously, program. They're a good mid-major.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still an impressive win. So I kind of wanted to get into the offense that you guys run. I don't know if it's similar to if it's the same like Matt Painter offense that you ran when you were playing for him. But from what I've seen, like the past few years, like there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of like consecutive actions that like happen. I think, and like you kind of spoke on this earlier, you got to be like a system guy. There's no
Absolutely.
like individual, like, some athlete that's just going to drop like 30. Obviously Carson Edwards is an exception because he was so talented.
Right.
But I think that, can you kind of speak
even
of
his
like,
couple years? Yeah.
what was that?
I said even his first couple years, like he had to kind of learn the system. Like his first 1 or 2 years, he still had to learn the system and get rolling in it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you kind of talk about like what the goal is of this like offense and like what it entails?
So pretty much like the way that the offense is broken down, like we have like sets, right? So there's certain sets that we have, but if we're not in a set, you're running what's called the motion offense, right? So that's his, that's Coach Painter's stamp, right? The motion offense. And pretty much each movement or each thing that the defense do creates something that you do, right? So if there's a back screen, you might, depending on what type of defense they're playing, right? So if they're, shooting the gap, on our screens, then we're going to change the screen. It's literally something to do for each thing that the defense does. So it's hard to learn.
Yeah.
And you got to be willing to learn it. And if you're a dude that just like, man, I got to get my shot off like during this play, like it's over, like, then you're probably somebody
Screws
that's
it
not
all
going to end
up.
up. Exactly. You're not going to be successful and you're going to screw it up because pretty much if you're the person that's always getting people open, then you're going to be open is what it boils down to. If you're setting that back screen, like Etwan Moore had to learn it the same way, right? Like he wanted to shoot all the time, right? And me, same with me, like coming out of high school, like it's like, no, if you set that back screen and Jawan Johnson is going to the basket, don't you think your man is going to help if you got him on a good back screen? So what does that do? Now you're right there for a wide open three. Bam, right? If he helps, it's a dish, right? So it's a motion offense. So if we don't call a set, then there's a motion offense. But if there's a set call, which it kind of depends on the team, right? If they run a lot of sets or not. Like I know we ran a lot of sets, especially my junior and senior year, because those guys just wasn't buying in. So like we ran a lot of sets, like we were damn near like a football team. Like,
oh, gotcha.
Like if the play breaks, so if we run a set and the play breaks, we're still in motion for the rest of the shot clock, right? Shot clock goes down and we'll probably do like a screen, somebody come up and set a flat screen for the point guard or me or something like that. But also what I do like about the sets part of the offense is you're able to feed the hot hand. So like you can keep running their sets. So everybody has their specific sets. So if I'm the shooting guard, for instance, I was the shooting guard, when I was the leading scorer, I had about 15, 20 different plays, we could run for just me. So if I'm hot and we see that this person is doing this, it's like, okay, we're going to run these 5 plays. Me knowing that, I'm like, all right, I know where I'm about to get my buckets at here. Right? I just got to be able to score it. Like you're going to get open if your teammates are doing the right thing, or you're going to get them open and they're going to, score too. So that's the part that I like about it. But the motion offense is actually when we ran it my sophomore year, and obviously my freshman year was easy because, I didn't do much. Like I think I averaged like 6 or 7 points or something like that. Like I just hit the open shot, right? My sophomore year is when I really got more into the offense. I had, tore my meniscus ahead of the season, so I didn't start the first part of the season. Then the second part of the season, like second half of the season, I ended up being like, leading scorer with Robbie, and we ended up doing everything, 1-2 punch, everything. So that is when I really got to say, man, god damn, this really works. Like if you, because we had a smart team, we had a really smart team my sophomore year. Everybody knew what they were doing, so it really worked. Like if we screwed something up, it was like, oh, it was like, yeah, it was me. Yeah, yep, you were supposed to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we knew that. But like, you know, my junior and senior year never got to really experience that, because it was always like, wait, what? Like, what did I do? Like,
right.
Well, you were supposed to do this, this, and this. So yeah, I love the offense, man. It's definitely a stamp on the Purdue legacy.
So just kind of diving into the offense a little more. Last year, Miami played a lot of zone. They only have played one game so far, and we didn't really see it that much. Probably because they played against a team that just shoots a bunch of threes. But what do you think, is this offense still capable, like against a zone? Like, how does it change? Yeah,
so the zone is totally different. So you wouldn't run the motion. Motion is only against man defense, and most teams in the Big Ten play man, right? But inside of the zone, there's like a motion zone offense kind of as well. But I have seen that's where things kind of get stagnant for Purdue, right?
Okay.
Unless you have like a Carson, Ryan, somebody like that is just literally busting the zone open. Then you get more people. But I used to love the zone because
I believe it.
I used to love the zone because I would hit a couple threes, but then I actually liked working like through the middle. So like if we had shooters, I liked being that person that gets the ball, because pretty much the object is to try to get the ball to the middle at some point, right? And then that opens up everything. And and usually what Purdue does is they put a playmaker there. So it's somebody that can pass, that can shoot, or that can make a play right in the middle. You know, they might spin off of something and make a layup or a floater. They can shoot the jump shot. But yeah, it's usually something where they're doing that. But that is an area where I see that Purdue does get stagnant. And even in my experience when I was there, especially with my junior and senior year, like I just saw, movement will get stagnant within that. But they do kind of like, there's a couple different sets they run out of it too. Which is like, overloading the side or something like that with the shooter, where they do like a it's really a misdirection dribble. So you dribble out and somebody refills. And that was pretty effective, but yeah.
Okay. So kind of getting into defense. Miami is known for, well, specifically individually, they have this guy named Chris Likes. I don't know if you know who he is.
Nope, I haven't seen him.
Okay, he's a 5'7" guard.
Okay.
So he's kind of an undersized guard, we can say.
Yeah.
As someone who at Purdue, I think that you were probably one of the leaders on defense. That's what you were known for, right? You were one of the better defenders on the team, I'd say.
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah. How do you guard someone that's that small, who is, a lot quicker, who he can get his shot off really quick, because he led the team in scoring last year with like 15 points. How do you stop someone like that?
For Purdue, like, they always say this is where defense lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So defense is something huge there. And that's one of the things that I had to get over the loop with when we talked about, like, okay, what is the difference between high school and college? Like, guarding these dudes full court. And that was something that we had to do there. So, like, what we would do to a person like that, which is very hard for one, because what happened is we had a 5'7" guard. We had a guard like that, right? Super quick guard, Lewis Jackson. He couldn't shoot it as well as this guy. It seems like this guy can. But he was like that, right? So I had to guard this dude in practice and stuff. But what we would do is it's called jamming. So you're jamming him. Like when we score, whoever the point guard is picking him up like right away. Like we're not letting him like essentially what I was doing to you. But like
thanks for the reminder.
I'm gonna remember this forever.
It's like we're gonna tire him out all game long, right? So we're going to send the first team point guard at him. We're going to send the second team point guard at him. And even if we have to throw a third, a shooting guard or something, we're going to send him at him. But we're going to guard him full court all game long. So he's going to have to dribble that ball. Like, he's going to have to turn. And the key is to turn this guy as many times as possible. So I'm getting him going. I'm trying to turn him. I'm getting him going. I'm trying to turn him. So just doing that all game long. One guy that this whole situation reminds me of is Kalen Lucas. They used to play for Michigan State.
Oh, yeah.
Super duper fast guy, can shoot it, can do everything. And I mean, he was hell to guard, bro, like full court. Like, I was like mad. Like, why are we guarding him full court? You know what I mean? But we beat them 3 times that year, right? We tired him out. And then after that, everybody else gets frustrated. So if it's a point guard, he's always the point guard is going to be the leader of the team, no matter if there's a captain that's, an older guy or whatever it is. They have the ball in their hands most of the time. So they're going to lead the team. If they're getting frustrated and they're getting tired, you'll start to see that trickle down, to everybody. So that's how I would go about it. And then obviously there's just those guys, they're still going to get their shots. You just want to make them shoot as many shots as they have to shoot to get that average, right? They're looking to get that 20 points. They've been making them take 20 shots to do that, right? So that's kind of how we go about it.
Yeah. So from your perspective, who should Miami really hone in on this, like, Purdue offense? Because I feel like there's not really like one guy in particular. I think that everyone can kind of really contribute. What do you think though?
Man. And I'm not giving up no tips right now, but
hey, don't worry. This won't be released until the day of the game.
Yeah.
I might be lying to you, but go ahead.
In a minute. No, as soon as we're done, I'm shooting it over to Larinaga.
Hilarious. But no, there isn't like a person, like we said, that's been like just off the Richters, but there's 2 people that are pretty much like their bread and butter right now, as far as like they know what they're going to get for them, right? Night in, night out, right? And that's number 55, and I don't know how to say his name. I can't remember right now. The shooter,
Stefanovic.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Something like that. Yeah. He's a really, really good shooter. And anytime that he's open, he has a chance of making it. Something like you. I'll give you your props on that.
Hey, as much as you want to bring it up, baby. Okay.
That's
Listeners need to know about me.
It's going to end there.
I'm about to get a 10-day Caniacs.
There you go. You want to get a 10-day real quick? I'm down with that.
But no, he's a really good shooter, so they're going to have to be able to attend to him, right? But most importantly is Travion, right? Because he's like their inside presence, and really how Purdue likes to play is they like to play inside out. So let's get established inside early on. Let's get him some plays. If he gets established and he gets rolling, now you have Miami having to double him. Now we're able to kick it out to shooters and do what we have to do. But if they're able to hone in on him early, that means they're going to say, okay, now we got to go to this second option. You know what I mean? Like, we got to see next, and who is that at this point, right?
Yeah.
So I think that would be the biggest thing, is trying to hone in on Travion, and then at the same time, I don't know what you guys have inside on the Miami side, but actually taking it to him, like making him play defense as well, right?
Yeah.
So he's not only just worried about the offensive end, and he's relaxing on defense. Like, if he's having to play both ends, from what I've seen, he's gotten in shape a lot more than he was. Like, he lost a lot of weight. But that's kind of his kink in his armor is, he'll get tired at some point, right?
Yeah. I mean, kind of going back, what really worries me actually is Trevion is really big on the offensive boards, and that's somewhere that Miami really has struggled the past year or two, is giving up those second chance opportunities. And I think him and even Edey too, I think that, they're poised. I think that they can have a big impact on the game, unless, the Canes can really step up and box out and stuff.
Well, I know that's one thing that when we played Miami, that we, even back then, that, the Big Ten and as a whole, like, you win the game. We always look at, okay, what are the stats at halftime? the team that's normally winning if you're winning on offensive rebounds and you're winning on 50-50 balls, that team normally wins the game. It's crazy, but it's like almost like 80% of the time. It's crazy, right? So it's like we better pick up this 50-50 balls. Whoever wins this is going to win the game. You know what I mean? We better pick up these offensive rebounds. Offensive rebounding is something huge for our big men. Like they have to rebound. Like so that we normally only send one person back. So that's the point guard. So everybody else should be trying to rebound to be and with them, from what I've seen, like just watching the highlights and watching the first game, is that those dudes' arms are so long. Like some of the Edie guys, some of the rebounds that he got, like they just fell in his hands. Like it was like he just was like.
You know what it reminds me of? We kind of said this earlier. Like you remember in Space Jam when Michael Jordan, like his arm stretched out for that dunk? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like, man, he making these guys look like high school kids, you know, that first game. And I was like, man, because he's just so long. But yeah, they're definitely going to have to put a body on somebody. And how Coach Painter used to say when we used to go against Michigan State, because I know they used to do like football pads rebounding drills, right? Michigan State. So it's like if your hips and your back doesn't hurt after the game, after playing Michigan State, because you're just constantly every play, you're boom. Like you have to hit someone every play, right?
Man.
If it doesn't hurt, then you didn't do your job tonight.
If you ain't in the tub, you didn't play.
Man, seriously, man. So you should be taking off your clothes. He'd be looking, Coach Payne. He'd be looking. He'd be like, I don't see no bruises on you.
Not enough bruises.
I don't see nothing on you. You know what I mean? But
man,
serious. Like you gotta think these big dudes. Travion, man, he's a freight train, bro. Him like at the free throw line, running in full speed for a rebound, and you have to like hit him.
Yeah. So I gotta say, because I'm actually really interested, because I wanted to talk about this a little. Trevion, like he really impressed me just watching the film and stuff. But we got a transfer. His name's Nasir Brooks from Cincinnati. He was the AAC defensive conference player of the year. Okay. He's a 6'10" center. I think it's going to be a really good matchup because he's kind of similar to Trevion. He is like a super aggressive guy. He loves the contact. You know those guys that like are in the post that just love that contact? Oh, yeah. That's exactly how he is.
That's a great match for Trevion then, because that's exactly what he likes. He likes, hitting people and getting that contact and making his moves the same way. So that'll be interesting. You said he came from Cincinnati?
Yeah, he came from Cincinnati. He had to sit out a year, and then this is his final year, unless like the NCAA does something with another year of eligibility or whatever.
Football.
So he wasn't there with Mick Cronin, was he?
I think he was. Wait, was that the old head coach of Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was there for 2 or 3 years, I think.
With him? Okay.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
And that was a good coach, and he loved those type of guys, like, and he recruited really good guys like that, 6'9", 6'10", just on the boards all game, contact guys. So yeah, that's interesting to see. I'm gonna actually check him out so I can update the Purdue staff to get ready for that.
Oh man, come on.
See, he's gonna send his copy over later too. See.
Right.
Hey, jam his network, Caniacs. You got that capability? Jam the signal.
No, I don't. Not even gonna lie. That's funny.
Oh man. So kind of like going in, what are your overall thoughts? Like, obviously, I'm sure you're a busy guy, man. You got 2 kids now. You probably haven't been able to watch that much of other teams besides Purdue. But what do you think is going to be the big things that Purdue needs to do to win this game?
Man, to be honest, and I probably sound like Coach Painter now, but with these guys that they have right now, the group that they have right now, they can't afford to get off to bad starts, right? So that's something that's getting off to a good start, and that's rebounding the ball, and that's the 50-50 balls, right? But from there, just staying consistent and even killed throughout the game. not having those guys trying to make the home run plays a lot early in the game, where now we just screwed up the offense, things of that sort. But I think for them to be successful, man, they really got to be able to out rebound Miami. And then also, be able to get on those 50-50 balls. It's weird, where's the game at? Is it in?
I think it's in Purdue.
Yeah. See, that would be a huge advantage for us, on those 50-50 balls and stuff like that. Like our crowd is like, it's crazy, but Purdue's crowd is like they're really basketball informed. Like they like the good stuff about basketball, right? I mean, they like the steals, they like the blocks, like they like, it's not just, making a nice play, ooh and ah for them. So that's usually like a huge advantage. If you're getting off to a good start, it gets very, 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 very loud in there, bro. Like you can't even hear, like, they're doing the plays on a whiteboard. They're
oh wow,
you can't hear in there. So that's a big thing, normally. But I would say, in this environment, still getting those 50-50 balls and getting a good start for a team like this is huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. So we kind of talked about the game, a little bit about the rosters and everything. Who do you expect to have a big game this game? You rolling with Trevion?
I was going to roll with Trevion, man, but no, I'm gonna stick with him. That 6'10" Cincinnati guy, I didn't know about him.
Yeah. Well, no,
I
I'll be honest with you.
Update it again. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to update. They're actually playing in Miami.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, too, if he wasn't playing, I would be like, I would take Purdue in this, like easily.
Just because his first game playing?
It's Nasir?
Yeah.
No, it'll be his first year or his first game. It's his second game.
Yeah.
Oh, his second game. Okay.
It'll be his third because they have a game on the 4th.
Yeah, against Stetson.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would be really concerned if they didn't have Nasir Brooks because their backup center is a lot. He's kind of the opposite. He's not really laterally quick. He's not the best like post up defender, and he's not really looking kind of for that contact. So I would have been really scared if we didn't have Nasir Brooks.
Right. I think this might be a game, and I think Trevion is gonna go head first at him first and foremost. He's an experienced guy now. He's not that young dude because when he was young, he used to get really frustrated and stuff with like when people try to really, give him that physicality and things of that sort. Like after some point, like if he wasn't getting the ball to go back at him, he was getting frustrated, right? Mm-hmm. Which he really wasn't getting it because he had Carson, he had Vince Edwards, he had Ryan, so it was a lot of those dudes that were there. But I think now, he'll go back at him. But I think this game. I want to see Stefanovic or Ivy have a breakout game.
Okay.
That's what I'm calling right now.
Okay. All right.
Because I know is Ivy, because I know Ivy was out for one game, right?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was. Actually, you know what? He may not be playing that game.
Oh, that would be so unfortunate.
That would be so unfortunate.
For you guys.
It would be. But I saw that he posted something and he said it was just a light injury. Well, nothing to worry about, is what he said. So I'm so hopefully that he actually means that and he'll be back by the 8th. But but he's a very athletic guy, and then he's also a shooter as well. So I've seen him do a lot of good shooting and stuff in his workouts and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to see him have a breakout game. And then Stefanovic, obviously he's been there a couple of years, so I think he'll be able to step up it and knock some shots down as well.
Yeah, most definitely. So what's going to be your score prediction here?
Ooh,
yeah, we're putting you on the spot.
Or just margin of victory. It doesn't have to be two numbers. Like Purdue by 5, Miami by 15, whatever you think.
At Miami, Miami they'll lose by 7.
Lose by 7? Okay. I know. I think it's going to be a close game, the entire game.
Yep,
I really do.
And it's obviously up in the air. I think whoever wins, it'll be that. I don't think it'll be like on either side like a blowout.
Yeah.
But I do think on either side, like they'll win by like that 7 to 9 range with like some free throws at the end that added to that. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I want to know what the actual like Vegas line is for it because it's funny, but Purdue always covers.
That's a good question. They don't have it posted here yet.
Yeah, but
It's probably not out yet.
That would give me an idea for sure.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny too, just because Miami and Purdue are just so similar, and they both struggled last season. They had like really similar records. I believe Miami was like 15-17, and Purdue was like 16-15 or something.
Right. Yep.
So I mean, and I think both of them were projected to have like a bounce back season. Like I was looking at Joe Lunardi's like bracket projection, and like both of them were projected to be like 8 or 9 seeds in the tournament. I think that's like fairly accurate.
Yeah, they were really close last year. Miami was 15-16, and Purdue was 16-15.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really close.
So it's both a rebuilding year, not even a rebuilding year, but just showing like, okay, we can get over that hump, and they've had success early on. So we'll see what they got for each other coming up here. But I think my Boilermakers are gonna take it, man.
Hey, man. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and talking some ball.
Absolutely, man. Anytime.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Do you have a couple minutes for some random questions I just want to ask you?
Absolutely, bro.
Okay. All right.
Here we go. Some quick hitter questions.
So, quick hitter questions. Well, not some of them are. Some of them aren't. You grew up in Indiana, obviously. Who coming up was like your favorite Indiana like basketball player? Like NBA, played at college, or?
Man, that's a hard one because my favorite player was Michael Jordan. And he was right there in Illinois, but Indiana player. Let me tell you, it would have to be. I don't know if you remember Chris Thomas. He was one of my favorite players, but he played at Pike High School in Indianapolis, and then he played for Notre Dame. He was a point guard for Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, okay, I do remember.
Yeah, he was a pretty good. And then Jared Jeffries was one that I used to like as well, who played for Indiana University. And what's funny is I never watched really Purdue growing up. I used to watch IU like a lot, which is our like rival, and I would never. Don't put that on any Indiana radio channel, please.
I don't know if we reached that far.
I don't think we have.
But yeah, man.
We actually kind of talked about this earlier too. You mentioned the Miami Durant Scott talking smack. Who was the one guy like in college that talked the most shit to you?
To me,
I guess, or that you talked to, because apparently, apparently that's the thing too.
I know who it was, man. It was God, what's that guy's name? He played for Xavier. Yeah, because there was actually a hole after the game. Everything's gone.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Everything.
Wow.
Because what is his name, man? I gotta look this dude up.
Was this? Oh wait, was this the same year when they got into that thing with Cincinnati?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What's that guy's name?
The same year.
Was it one of the
two Holiday? It wasn't him.
Okay.
It was the other.
Was it the guy that transferred to Arizona?
Him. Yes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember his name.
I gotta look that up, man. Xavier roster 2011, 12.
Look at you, got him digging in the phone now.
Dude, he needs to know this. You know what's gonna be funny is he's gonna wake up one night and he's gonna be like that. He's gonna wake up and be like that motherfucker. Mark Lyons.
Mark Lyons.
Yeah.
Mark Lyons. That's who it was, man. That dude. I think he was from New York, so he had that that New York playground style type of play. And we already talking stuff as we coming into the game, as you know. So he coming right back at us though, and he's serious too, But what happened was at the end of the game when we played him in Xavier, we literally lost the game like last second. Two Holiday was really good that year, right? And then he said some stuff in the interview, and it kind of like people started to like look at him bad. He said some stuff. I don't even know what he said, but he had a last second shot on us, and they ended up fouling us, and somebody missed a free throw or something, so the game was over. And he launched the ball. Mark Lions grabbed the ball, and like whoever, it was actually my dad and my mom. They was like,
"Oh no!"
He launched it, and it almost like it went like right past my mom's face. So I remember like our whole team like, what the like. So it was like where you go into the locker room at was like a ordeal, right? So you all go in the locker, and it got into a little scuffle thing and all that stuff right there. You know how basketball.
Boy. Yeah,
but
you know how it is. So I gotta say,
all right, I got one.
Oh, you got one? Go ahead.
Yeah. What's on your pregame playlist? What's your top three?
Top three. So back then,
or it can be now. It can be now too.
No, I want to go back to then because I want. What was I, getting into the mode with back then? Definitely something Tupac, like something Tupac.
Okay.
All right.
That into the move. My dad and put me on the Tupac at a young age, so I was a big Tupac fan. So anything from him, All Eyes on Me, probably Game Mode.
Okay.
Picture Me Rolling was like my favorite song. Like if I put that on, I can just relax and I can get the game rolling in my head, right? But what else? Oh, Meek Mill, easily.
Oh yeah.
So definitely something Meek Mill, The Dreams and Nightmares, the intro song.
Okay, I got you.
4 games for sure.
KNX is a huge Meek Mill fan.
Oh, for real? That's what's up, man.
I'm not a huge one, but I do like some of his stuff.
Yeah. And lastly would probably be, and I know they in the same camp, but something probably Rick Ross. That's my dude.
Okay.
I love me some
Rick
Ross.
A Miami guy, man.
Yeah, I love me some Rick Ross.
There you go.
Probably something Rick Ross, man. I just can't think of it right now, but I know that's what we was like, banging back then for sure. Like that Forever album is what was going crazy back then.
Right. I like that.
Okay. Yeah. So this question kind of has a little like preface to it. So there was a game in our men's league. I don't know if you remember this. My brother-in-law, he says, I don't think this happened, but he swears that this happened, and he wanted me to bring this up because he knew we were going to be talking. He said that he crossed you up one play. Yeah, I know. That's
one play.
One play. But then he also said what he failed to mention was, but then he proceeded to drop 20 in my face after that.
So he let the crossover actually he let that sit in a little bit before he gave that part of it.
Yeah. He let the crossover sit in, and I was like, wait, didn't he drop like 6 or 7 threes in your face after that? What are you talking about?
Hey, you know how I am on defense though. Like I'll start getting kind of aggressive. So I'm not ashamed to say, like, I will get crossed up here and there. Being that aggressive, you will get crossed up here and there. Just like, in the lane, if you're a shot blocker, you will get dunked on at some point.
Right. No, but I saw it. He did not cross you up. He just thinks that he did. He thinks he's hot shit. But
I wish I could remember, but I can't. But that's funny.
But,
that's funny.
It kind of leads me to this. So I kind of saw you heat up in that moment. What was like the one game that sticks out in your mind that you're like, shit, I was on one, like I couldn't miss?
College,
college or high school, whatever you want to talk about.
For college is more of like a bigger stage, so I'll just go with that. And it's something that you can actually search, because in high school I had some crazy games, bro.
I know. I looked a little.
I had some crazy games in high school, but college, man, and it was something about them, and I don't know what it was, but every time I would play them, I would have a really good game with Michigan. The way that they played their offense and the way that we played, like, it just fit perfectly. And the way they played their defense fit perfectly with, like, guard play. So it's like guard on guards the whole game, pretty much. Unless we're dumping it inside and we get established really early with the big man, then we're guard play. Like, so it was me. It was me and my brother pretty much going at Tim Hardaway Jr. and Trey Burke is what it was.
Oh, yeah. I remember
so
that.
I had like 30 something that game, and
shit.
I had I got like super hot that game, and like the game before that, I had like 27 or something like that when we played them too.
Oh,
so those
man.
2 games in particular, and like one of them was at Michigan, and it was on their senior night.
Oh, boy.
So
You gotta love it, man.
Oh man, the crowd you just shutting the crowd up, and our whole bench just roaring, bro. That I love that aspect of like college basketball. Like it's like, man, that make you feel, it give you chills, like for real.
When you're at a away game and everybody's quiet, that's the greatest.
Absolutely, man. And so we won that one. But the one at Purdue, which is the one that I had 33, we lost on a last second thing. Glenn Robinson Jr. hit like a last second tip. So they ended up having 3 NBA dudes on that team actually. So I had 33 on those, but I mean I was that game, like I was hitting everything, bro. Like leaning floaters from the corner, stuff like that. I was hitting threes. I was doing it everywhere, right? And it wasn't against no scrubs, right? It was against some NBA prospects.
It wasn't against us.
So that game definitely sticks out to me the most. And honestly, and I'm gonna send you this, man. I gotta get. I'll send it to you on Instagram if it comes through. But there's literally a meme of me like pissed during that game because my brother, like, it was a last second shot and I was so hot, I knew I was gonna make it, bro.
Oh, dude, you gotta send it to me.
Yeah, man, it's like me like slamming my shirt down and stuff. But yeah, he ended up trying to hand me off the ball and it went out of bounds and we lost the game. So yeah, that was probably the 2 games that'll stick out to me the most. But those was crazy games.
Man.
Okay, I got a serious question for you.
Okay.
Your former teammate Robbie Hummel, he won the gold medal in the 3-on-3, right?
Yeah.
So congrats to him. You got to build a squad to beat that squad. Who are you taking on your team besides me?
I like how you threw that in there.
He threw that in there, man.
No, for real though. Like,
great.
What other 2 guys would you take?
Other 2 guys I would take. Right now, who would I take? Man, I know so many players. Like, I'm not gonna go NBA players. Then I'm just gonna go like people that's not in the NBA that I play with. So, John Hart, who played with me at Purdue, and he ended up going on to play in Canada and stuff like that. But he's like a ridiculous scorer. Like he can score from anywhere on the court. So I'm definitely taking him with me. And then we got to have some size because Robbie's 6'8". Let me think here. Man, that's tough for the size amount because me and John are about the same height. So, which is like 6'3", 6'4"-ish. Who can I take with me? That'll be that stretch guy like that. Man, that's hard.
Look at he's thinking hard too. Look at him.
Yeah, man.
Man.
I told you this is a serious question.
It is. And it's
Wait,
the reason why.
Hold on. Did you just say? Oh, you said you needed size. I thought you said you needed a stretch guy, but I was gonna say I know someone that.
I know you can stretch him out. I know you can stretch him out, man. It's just on the flip side, we got you inside with Robbie Hummel. He's just gonna turn around and get that hook shot right on you, bro.
Right.
You can't do that.
You're out. Sit down.
Big guys wise, who would I take with me? To be honest, I would have to take, and this is a personal decision, my guy Darius Latham. And he played with me in high school, right? He's like 6'7", big, stocky dude. He actually ended up getting drafted to the Oakland Raiders. Like a few years back.
Oh, wow.
But he's younger than me. He ended up being like an Indiana All-Star in basketball too, right? But as far as like a big dude, he can still shoot. He can dribble the ball, but he's huge. Like he was a right tackle or something like that, right?
Oh man!
So he's huge, right? But he still can move. Like his footwork is so nice that he can really like move. It would be him, or it would be because I like those type style players, and he reminds me also of like Kawan Short because he played at Purdue football too. He plays for the Panthers now football, but he played with Etwan in high school, and we played those guys. And he was really good. Actually, he didn't even play football until his senior year of high school.
Oh wow.
So he ended up, going to Purdue and ended up going to the NFL. But like, man, he was able to shoot. He could dribble the ball, and he could still like move his feet at that size. So I would have to go with somebody like that too.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Solid, man.
So I think, man, I think that's about all we got for you tonight, man. We don't want to keep much more. It's already been an hour.
I know, man. Sorry, I can just talk to you all night, man.
I know. We definitely appreciate your time, though, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Also, we gotta, if you're interested, man, we were talking about doing like a March Madness round table, once the tournament starts, if it happens. If you'd be interested in coming on, we'd love to have you, man.
Yeah, man. I would definitely be interested in coming on, man. And my question is, like, is there anything going on with the March Madness? Like, are they saying that yes, it's going to happen, like, as of now, or how's that working?
So I think they're kind of playing it by ear, just because, like, I mean, Miami's schedule just came out with like the official times and everything. So I mean, I honestly don't know. I think they really are going to try to have the full tournament. I mean, I just don't know how they're going to do it. Just with that many teams, there's just so many variables. And if COVID is still going on and is rampant, it's...
Yeah, it should almost be like the bubble if they have it.
Well, that's what I heard, that they were going to break it up into bubbles, and then they were going to have a delay, and then they're going to have the other bubbles, because you got to have everybody out of the COVID. I think it's 7 to 10 days now, and then they'll have another bubble. And then after that's all done, then you move into another bubble. So
wow,
yeah. If they do have it and they do it that way, it's gonna be a long March Madness. But
it is.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. You're right there. March Madness. yeah. But yeah, right now they're trying everything they can to have it. I mean, because they lost all that money last year. I mean, that's a lot of revenue, man.
And to me too. March Madness for me is like probably like it's just the best, like in terms of like championships. To me, it's like the best event in terms of that. It's just so crazy. Cool, especially the first 2 days.
In it, it's
crazy. I'm sure.
Like, I mean, it really is like an upstaged event. Like, like you literally get police escorted everywhere you go. All that type of stuff. So. It's definitely something that's like upstage for the players and the fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was huge for us, just getting out of every game. All the Purdue fans in the hotel cheering you on, stuff like that. So I think, man, to miss out on that, I feel sorry for for the teams that's going to miss out on that. Guys that don't end up going to the NBA, guys like me, right? Like those times, like man, those were huge times for us. Like I will always remember those times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and now you can pass it on to your kids, and then hopefully one day you pass it on to your grandkids. All them stories be great.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
I just remembered one thing before we let you go. Sorry, man. I know we're taking a lot of your time. I noticed that you're kind of into the real estate investment.
Mm-hmm.
I actually work for a company that owns a lot of multifamily property, so I'm an accountant for them. So super interesting. I thought it's really cool what you're doing, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I jumped into that about 2.5 years ago, in 2017. Wholesaling properties. So we would just get properties under contract and sell them to end investors. And we ended up doing a lot of deals like that, me and my partner, but all in the Indianapolis market. So I was doing it, and I was, the team that I played against you with, that was my actual like 9-to-5 job. But I actually recently. Yeah, so that was actually our work team. Like, yeah. So, I recently, well, not recently, I guess the beginning of this year, I quit that job and went full time into real estate investing, and now me and my partner, we just picked up our 30th unit like yesterday.
Outstanding.
That we own. So. And it's all in the Indianapolis market, which is, growing really big right now. So if you do know anybody, obviously, that's interested in selling or any, interested in investing in a Midwest market for cash flow investing, we're bringing on investors, consistently now. So that's something that, we continuously build. Like right now for those properties, we have investors funds in those deals, currently, getting returns as it is now. So, yeah, man, it's been huge for me. I always wanted to gain back my time, and I always wanted to do something where my performance is kind of based on my, how far I go, right? So kind of just like the basketball ordeal, right? So, I don't have to talk too much. I can just get it out. I mean, even though I do talk on the court, but you don't have to talk on the basketball court. You're going to, whatever you're doing, you're going to show it. So you're going to get to a certain level because of what you put in. And that was just something that I wanted to get back to, like, as soon as possible. Even when I started working, after I played overseas, I was like, man, I gotta get back to that. I love it. It lets me have time with my family, obviously. And I've been able to be super helpful, with this baby. So
heck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, where can people reach you at?
Oh man, y'all can reach out to me online. Obviously all the social networks, Facebook, just my name, Terone Johnson. And then on Instagram, Legacy, that's LEGACY_T, which is TEE, so Legacy_T on Instagram. And then we also me and my partner just started a YouTube channel, just going through all of our properties and stuff like that, just showing strategies that we do use in real estate investing. And that channel is called Moguls in the Making. And that's on YouTube as well. If you go to my Instagram page, it'll be, the link.
In the bio.
Absolutely. Awesome. I'm getting social media stuff. I feel like an old man, but I'm starting to get better at it.
I'm telling you, it's rough to keep up with all the social media platforms nowadays, man. Woo, it's rough, boy. But I feel you.
Yep. So I do appreciate you guys bringing me on, man. And I gotta make sure my Boilermakers get that win coming up here on the 8th.
Hey, man, we're glad to have you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really
we know you're a busy guy with everything going on, and thank you to your wife too for letting you come on too, man, because I'm sure it's busy with the 2 kids.
Yeah, man, she over here giving me the eye right now, looking at me like, hey, it's about time. No, I'm just kidding.
I believe it. That's why we're trying to rush you out of here. No, I'm just joking.
Hey, but we'll have to play ball soon too, man.
Absolutely, man. And whenever we get back, when we're able to play again, I'll definitely be back in that league playing still. Awesome. So we'll definitely link up again and maybe get her something after.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Sounds good.
All right, Terone, man, we really appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, have a good night, man.
See you soon.
Yo.